Most of us think we know the story of Medusa, right? The monster with the snakes for hair. But what if that's just the end of the story? What if that's not the whole picture? Today, we're going to go back, way back, to the very beginning, before the curse, to really get to know the girl who came before the monster. And this one line really sets the stage for everything. It's basically asking us to question the myths we've just accepted as true, and maybe look for a different story that's been hiding just beneath the surface all this time. So, yeah, we're shifting our whole focus here. This is not another story about the all-powerful, triumphant gods sitting up on Mount Olympus. No, this is about the one they forgot, the one they misunderstood, and ultimately, the one who got left behind. Her story starts, quite literally, at the edge of the world, a place of myth, a place of isolation. And you have to understand, this isn't just some random location. It's a symbol for her entire existence right from the jump, born in a place of forgotten things, almost destined to be overlooked. Okay, so let's dive into her childhood. Imagine growing up in a world that's just defined by incredible, raw power. But here's the thing. As we're about to see, she was born into this world as a total anomaly, completely different from the very beings she was supposed to call her family. What's so wild about this is the contrast it paints. I mean, look at this. Her sisters, they were forces of nature. They showed up like storms, powerful, terrifying. The world literally bent to their will. They were born monsters. But Medusa? She was different. She was born fragile. She actually felt the cold. She was vulnerable in a world that, let's be honest, only respects power. And this right here, this distinction, is the absolute core of her story. Her instinct to hide, it wasn't cowardice, not at all. It came from this terrifyingly unique awareness that she had. See, unlike her immortal sisters, she knew what it meant to be breakable. She understood what pain was. So, strangely enough, this vulnerability, it became her teacher. It actually forced her to see the world in a way the gods, blinded by their own power and immortality, never ever could. She learned the truths they always tried to hide. And here they are, these three brutal truths. First, that living forever isn't a gift. It can be an endless prison sentence. Second, that power, well, power is deaf. It doesn't care about your prayers or your pleas. And the third, and maybe the most chilling lesson of all, that being different makes you a target, long before anyone even bothers to consider if you're innocent. And once she understood those lessons, it led to this absolutely horrifying realization about her place in this world. It wasn't just that she was different. It was all about how others saw that difference. This is the key. The world looked at her sisters with terror, with fear, which in their world is a kind of respect. But when they looked at her fragility, it didn't inspire sympathy. No, it inspired something way, way more dangerous. Calculation. People didn't see a person. They saw an opportunity. And this is where the horror just starts to sink in for her. That calculation meant her vulnerability was seen as an open invitation. It meant she was the one who could be taken. The one whose own identity wasn't really her own, but was just like clay to be molded for someone else's purpose. The one who could be shaped. And this was the ultimate fear. To be seen not as a person, but as a sacrifice. A pawn to be moved around in the games of gods and men. She was the one who could be offered. So, facing this absolutely terrifying reality, she turns to her last hope, And not with anger or defiance, but with faith. She offers a desperate prayer to the goddess she serves, Athena, the supposed keeper of wisdom and order. Her prayer starts with this declaration of obedience. I stand where I was placed. She's not a rebel. She's not fighting the system. She's a faithful servant who has accepted her role, her duty, her place in the whole cosmic order. She basically lays out her case to the goddess. She reminds her of her piety, of her devotion. I keep my vows. I keep my body. I keep my silence. She's done everything that was ever asked of her, keeping herself pure in a world that is just dying to exploit her. And then comes her final desperate plea. It's a request for justice, or if not justice, at least protection. She feels this danger closing in, and she's just begging for it to be kept away from her sacred space. And man, if you know the rest of the myth, this prayer is just filled with the most tragic irony. Which leaves us right here with this final haunting question. This story, the story before the curse, it forces you to rethink everything you thought you knew. It makes you look at this world of gods and heroes and really decide for yourself. When a system of power preys on the vulnerable, who's the true monster?